Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the lab. This is the 35th episode. Sitting with you, as always, is Lou Folenkamp, Alex Trotter, and Brandon Weird. Trying something a little different today. We're using a different software for recording, so we'll see how this goes. But exciting news, Trotter actually came up with today's topic. So today, we are going to talk about time management.
And how to shit talk.
Shit talking, apparently. And then also when, like, the quote-unquote right time to start using, belts, sleeves, and wraps. So now I'm curious, Trotter, why did you want to start using or talk about time management today?
Well,
considering you were late for the podcast.
What'd you say?
I said considering you were late today.
Whatever, dude. My one client. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I had poor time management today, so that's on me, and I'll admit that. But no, it's just part of like my little rant that I went on last week on Instagram, actually. But everyone just talks about how you're so lucky that you get to work out, and you're so lucky that you have time in the day to like work out and stuff like that. And it's just annoying from a standpoint, and almost like a backhanded compliment, I guess, in a weird way too. Because it's like we all have the same 24 hours in the day. It's just how you prioritize those 24 hours is what makes a difference. So that's where the idea of this topic came about.
Yeah, okay. I was kind of curious because, time management in itself is never perfect, right? Mm-hmm. Especially knowing Brandon over there. He's always on time. So, we all just like aspire to his greatness.
Yeah.
God-given.
You ain't 15 minutes early, you're late. I know that.
Yeah, that was ingrained. Shit.
That's my wife's rolling her eyes back there.
Can we get Morgan's input on this? I'm curious now.
Let me disconnect my AirPods real quick.
Now I gotta know. See if he's owning up enough.
A little special guest.
A little special guest treatment from Mrs. Weirig.
Yeah.
Brandon's time management.
My time management skills.
It depends on the subject.
That's true.
It's
anything
around
anything. Huh?
If it's work related, he's great. If it's home related, it's going to need a couple times to be said before it'll get done.
Sounds about right.
Gotta get those priorities straight.
Yeah. Yeah, your number one priority is sitting next to you right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So in terms of time management, we'll specify a little bit. Let's go time management in the gym, right? So how many times have you guys seen athletes either in between sets or maybe even before the workout when they're warming up, scrolling through either some form of Instagram, Snapchat? Like, I think one of the most just puts me in a bad mood is when I'm working with someone and they are on their phone and it's either Snapchat or Instagram, and then I'm trying to go through or teach an exercise or something, and they're just scrolling, and I'm like, this is your time. If you don't want to learn it right now, that's okay, but don't waste my time.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty common. I feel like it's gotten a little bit maybe worse, maybe this year. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Kids are getting a little bit more they're bringing their phone with them over to the weight room side rather than leaving it on the warm up area. So I'm not really sure on how. I guess we haven't addressed it, but it has been a thing. Maybe it'll be a no phone zone.
Well, they abuse it. Some of them have their workouts on their phone and stuff, and then it's just that turns into checking to see where their next lift is to scrolling through Instagram and Snapchat versus during their rest period.
Yeah. Yeah. And then their rest period turns into from 30 seconds or a minute into 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. And it's just suddenly you guys have to go at the end of your workout and you never complete the actual exercises.
Bingo. So what would you say would be like your top 3 things to do with your phone when in the gym? Because I put my thing on. Thank you. So I put my thing on like silence all notifications, whatever is the focus thing or whatever. I write my workup up on my whiteboard and I'm in the gym.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole reason Brandon put all of our workouts on the giant chalkboard. You know, they're pasted on there. Like you don't. It takes less time if you just walk over there. By the time you check your sets and your reps and like what you have to do and walk back, there's your rest period. It's like you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
They're up there for a reason. So I get
what
it's
else
a
in
little
regards
tedious,
to?
but still.
Yeah. What else about time management initially like sparked your interest?
That people can't find time to go and work out or to do any of that. That drives me crazy. Like you're probably like, you know, coming home from like work or school and you're sitting there like watching TV or like on your phone scrolling, you know, like for hours that you could have literally gotten your workout done, you know, or like, you know, meal prepping is like a big thing. Like it doesn't take that long, like maybe an hour or 2 on like a Sunday and you're good for the whole week. Granted, it's not the greatest tasting food because it gets a little stale and like you're over it by the end of the week, but it's all about like what you want to put in is what you get out of it. So you only have this short little window of like your peak athletic career, if you will. Like, I don't know. Like if you're going to peak like in high school, that's 4 years. You have 4 years out of the 80 to 90 that you're going to live. I'm pretty sure you can prioritize a couple things like in those 4 years. But
I agree with that.
What do you see, Brandon?
No, I actually made a post about this a couple months ago. That's probably a couple months ago. Like kind of like you were saying before. Like, yes, we do have the gym right there at our disposal because that's where we work. But my job isn't to lift weights. My job is to maximize each person's potential as they walk through the gym. Mm-hmm. So if you want to sit there and complain that your 9 to 5 sitting behind a desk job is holding you back, well, I mean, you can if you put all our group training sessions together and you put all our private sessions together, that training time is way longer than your 9 to 5. So I've been on the floor on my feet for 10, 12 hours through training sessions, and then I still have to get my goals done. So,
yep.
I mean, that excuse is the only benefit is that I don't have to drive to a gym. But if you take in the hours that I'm working longer than you, it should be faster for you to drive. There's probably a gym within a 10 to 15 minute driving range for you to get there. So, I mean, there's really just lazy and people just want the magic pill. So,
yep. I mean, and even so, like I'll not to like one up it or whatever, but ever since like I started taking powerlifting like very serious back in 2017 is when it kind of got like more serious. I never trained at a gym that wasn't an hour away at least, and that's one way. You know, so like you have to factor all those times in, factor in traffic and stuff like that. But like it's achievable, just nobody wants to do it. Like it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I know that's. Oh man, like kind of like
you're
saying, like
you're a great example right now because you live 40 minutes away from your job. So what is that? An hour, essentially an hour and a half of drive time that like you lose every single day that you could be training. Mm-hmm. So now you got to make that up somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I mean, that was kind of the nice thing. Like over COVID, I basically changed my garage into a gym.
Yeah.
So like, I really don't have an excuse to like not work out. But at the same time, like there are days, I won't lie, like I come home from work because if I just the day beforehand was just nightmare and I'm doing stuff at all hours of the night. And then I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm like, man, going out in the garage right now just does not seem like it. So I'll try to go back to sleep. But there are nights when I come home and I'll be out in the garage probably from like 7 until 8:30 just so I can get something in. Because, I mean, like you already said, the drive sucks. But, I mean, I don't want to have to sacrifice like my own, you know, honestly, physical and mental health. Because if I don't work out, I'm cranky. You can even ask my wife. But I kind of agree with like what Brandon and you guys are saying with the fact that like people like because you're a physical therapist, they're like, oh, well, you just must work out here all the time, and I'm like, no, like
Yeah. Do you work out like during your office hours? No. Like
yeah, like absolutely not. I mean, at lunchtime I'll go for a walk here and there, but like honestly, that clinic is where I go to treat people, and that's about it. After that, I'm either over at No Name with you guys, in my garage working out, or over at Freedom Point CrossFit, which honestly this month has been absolutely nuts in regards to work. So I mean, I haven't really even been over there. It's just living in the garage right now.
Yep. And I noticed it a lot too when I was lifting with Brandon like last week. It's like during those, like, I mean, we'll maybe luck out and we'll get like an actual like full hour of like a training session that we can get in. So it's not even so much of that's like our time, but it's like it's our time that we don't have to think about how to fix somebody. We can just go in and we can just do it, and like as much information as we have like stored in our head, we can like kind of bounce off each other. Like, like he'll notice stuff like with my like running technique. He'll be like, hey, pick your toes up when you're driving. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. And like, that's it. That's all we ever talk about. It's like, we're not sitting there. We're not having conversations the whole training session. Like, I don't think any of us looked at our phone. The only time we ever looked at anything was our watch, because we were going for like whatever the heart rate stuff. So I was just trying to make sure I didn't have a heart attack, and he's trying to hit a certain heartbeat.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was in the danger zone.
Max heart rate. Oh yeah, I'm about 20 beats over that. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I think that's hard for people, I mean, not to be mean, but the laziness factor for most people. Like, I'll do it tomorrow. Like, how do you guys get around that? Like, what do you guys think about when someone basically just keeps making excuses, eventually, like, enough excuses? Like, what do you guys, like, what's your spiel?
Yeah, we can't want it more than you. Like, like I feel at least like we're direct representations of what it took to get through the points in their struggle, if you will, and like show that there is an outcome like to this if you just can like put your head down and go. But if you don't want to look at it that way and you just keep being lazy, then yeah, it's one of those where we have kids that are highly motivated. So like, why would we want to waste time like chasing somebody that like doesn't even want to help themselves? So I kind of have like a 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing. Like, if you just keep blowing it off, or I'll make it in tomorrow, but then like you skip the whole week, like I'm gonna bust your balls, and then like we'll see kind of how you respond from there. But a lot of the times, like they write themselves off before anybody else can. Like if you don't believe in yourself, like how can a coach or a college coach that's going to recruit you believe in you?
Mm-hmm. Like, motivation will wax and wane, but like you were already saying, Brandon, before you dipped out on me there.
Kicked out.
You got kicked. I did not kick you out.
It just shut off.
Yeah.
No, discipline. I mean, intrinsic motivation is probably one of the hardest things to develop. Like, easily. Like, you got to want it. And that doesn't just happen overnight. And that's why I think, like, I think sometimes general fitness as a whole is very hard to stay in. Unless, obviously, you've been an athlete for years, and that's just been something that's been ingrained in you from day one. But finding that, like, setting a goal, even if it's small, like, let's say you want to lose 20 pounds. Like, you got to make it fun. Like, make it a game. Hell, make it a game. Yeah. Like for example, like I might not know your numbers. I might not know what you guys are trying to set for PRs. But like, let's say you guys are telling me you just squatted this, and then like in a month or two, let's say you added 5 or 10 pounds to your back squat. I'm going to compare that to my squat numbers, and I'll see, well, hell, I just set 15-pound PR. So like intrinsically, that's going to make me want to keep going because heck, I just beat you in that 1 month. Why would I not want to like keep doing that? And that even goes back to like the whole talk about last week when we talked about training partners. Like, honestly, I would love to hop in and work out with you guys just to see what that would even be like. We could even film that one. That would be a lot of fun, actually. As long as we got to pick something that each person is strong at, which I'm going to lose regardless there. So, game on.
We do deadlift again.
God damn it, man. You will not let me live that one down. At all. Either of you. I did that in dress pants.
Yeah, debatable.
Whatever.
Nobody saw it.
Whatever.
No. They weren't even really considered dress pants. They're like those fancy Under Armour sweatpant looking things.
Yeah.
They were golf pants, okay?
$200 or something like that, like one of your cheaper pair.
What? Do you think they were $200 golf pants?
Yeah, that's what they look like. They smell money.
You want to know what that smells like? Can you tell me so I know?
I got no idea what that smells like.
I was going to say, you act as if I have like money bags over here. Yeah. Jesus Christ, no. No, so I think let's transition into your other topic there then. So like when to start using the belt, when to start using wraps, knee sleeves, maybe even like the suits that you wear, Trotter. Mm-hmm. So why don't you take that one away for us? Kind of lead us off on that.
I feel as if because we primarily train like high school athletes, middle school, high school athletes. So in the mindset that we have or the concept that we have is we're not going to use your belt, wraps, sleeves, whatever while you're training because like it's not in your sport. So why do you want like that crutch, if you will, and learn how to train with that? But then like you get out on the field or you get out on the court and you no longer have that, the belt going around your waist to teach you how to brace kind of thing, like right before you get hit. So we want to strengthen you up as much as possible without those tools, and then some of the kids that like they're in their off season and they're powerlifting and stuff like that, then I'll allow like the belt and then knee wraps and stuff like that, like as we're getting closer to a meet, just so they're feeling it and kind of getting used to it again. But then other than that, I mean, we really don't like let them use it for the most part. Some of the kids do, but they're usually not in a sport or anything like that, so they can kind of just do their own.
I agree with that. I think one of the biggest things you can do as a young athlete, like before you're actually getting into like the belts and stuff, learn to breathe, learn to brace. Because most people have no idea how to do either. And if you are automatically trying to put a belt on and you have no idea how to breathe, or let alone even like utilize your core musculature as efficiently as you need to, and you're trying to add something on top of it, you're giving yourself a huge disservice automatically. I agree with you, especially in sport, because you're not going to be able to wear a belt when you're out on the field. Absolutely not. Unless your sport is actually powerlifting and you're in high school, then yeah, I can understand that. But most people are big, like upper chest breathers, and like trying to teach people how to breathe through their belly is sometimes a nightmare. I mean, heck, even Brandon, when actually, little nice thing about Brandon there, when we were recording, actually I have a video we can put up for the breathing and bracing. When we were going through the breathing, I asked Brandon actually to breathe through his chest, and he could not do it wrong. No matter how hard he tried, he could not breathe wrong. And it was like, this is a good bad thing.
Right there he goes.
Yeah, I know.
Well, when your chest is already so big and barrel as mine, I don't need to fill it up there anymore.
That's called emphysema, my friend. That's not. I'm just kidding.
He just has implants.
Speaker right there.
No, actually, that's kind of funny. Yeah. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe wrong. And then, but going through the bracing, the entire time we were going through the bracing stuff, Bo would just like block his ribs so you couldn't see shit.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna have to reshoot that one, but the other ones are good. No, But how do you guys cue breathing and bracing? I'm curious now. Like, what are your like big like either if it's a tactile cue, if it's a verbal cue? What do you guys find that works the best for young athletes?
I usually just say I need to see your lower t-shirt expand. I mean, kids wear tight enough t-shirts as it is.
Yeah, that one. Tighten your stomach as if like you were in a plank. So you want to brace all of that, keep it all. Mm-hmm. Every now and then, just kind of like poke on their obliques, because I mean, like it took me a long time to figure out how to like brace my obliques. Like it's a very minute like movement, especially when they're like weak. So like that little poke, just kind of get them to fire kind of thing. But then a lot of the younger kids, like middle school kids, they're still ticklish. It's just like, oh God, I forgot like what it was like to be like ticklish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it works. Or like you kind of just like put your fingers in like on their sides and then be like, all right, like push out against my fingers. And then like once they figure that out, it's like, that's what you need to hold.
I think this actually could be like a fun talking point. So like most of the time, just talking about all the motor morons out there, when you say push out, most of the time people will like just drive their belly out. And like, I think one of the big things like kind of going forward, like one of the things I like to do with a lot of the people that I see who have like either lower back pain with deadlifts or back squats is just like creating like almost like you're just trying to flex. Mm-hmm. And then after that, breathing into that. And I mean, most people will maintain a solid brace.
I mean,
I couldn't tell if you were still paying attention or not, Brandon. You look like zoned out on the camera.
Oh, he's there.
Not me. I'm dialed in.
Just super relaxed.
Yeah.
Got a long car right ahead of me. Got to get relaxed.
I was going to say, I'm just like talking and all I just see is like this the whole time.
Funny.
No, I think we could make some solid intros on breathing and bracing. I know Brandon you and I went through a few of them. We'll probably start posting those here soon.
Well, it's how far can you eat, like equally stick out your belly. So if you're like trying to stick out your belly like this, like the front part comes out more. But if you feel right, you're going to kind of get a full expansion around your whole stomach into your obliques.
Yeah.
So I want to see almost like a complete tire, in a sense, be filled rather
create
than just
your belt.
parking you. Yeah.
And that's
instead of just trying to have a Santa belly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You want to expand your entire trunk or your entire like abdominal region. Like you want to think like you are the belt, if you will. So like you need to push all 360 degrees out on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so simple too. Like if anybody's ever experienced any sort of back pain and you're getting up out of bed or you're getting up off the couch or like a chair, it hurts way less if you just brace your stomach a little bit and then stand up. Just carry that over to weightlifting. Like it's the same thing.
It's so simple.
Yeah. You just got to break it down.
Might work. How about knee wraps and like knee sleeves? What do you guys think of those for younger athletes?
If you can't squat right, it's only going to hurt you. Like they're designed to help you. Let's say that there's like a 10% wave. So like if you know how to use them and like get the rebound and spread into them, then you can get a 10% boost on your squat, for example. I'm not saying that applies to everything, but in general. But if you don't know how to spread and your knees still cave in and everything like that, then you're going to get 10% less out of your squat. So like
there's a huge difference between squat with knee wraps and squat with sleeves too.
Yep.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, you got to sit way far back in wraps to even take advantage of it. But sleeves, you can just kind of just do a normal squat and basically just get a little bounce out of the hole. So I mean, those are two totally different animals.
Yeah. And you almost want to think too, like with the knee wrap. I mean, again, it depends on what kind of squatter that you are. So like if your knees go like more forward in like a squat, for example, then you kind of want to do like the X. But you run the risk of, if you don't set that X or that crossing mark with your, like, right across your kneecap, that X is going to pull your kneecap. So, like, you could run the risk of, like, dislocating your kneecap if you don't do it correctly. So, like, there is, like, an injury thing to those. And then if you do the spiral one, you want to think about getting the most rotations around your knee, but you want to think about it from behind your knee. So you want to almost create like a tennis ball effect behind your knee, so then your hamstring and your calf can sit on each other and then spring you up. So it's not about like, like when people, you'll see it with kids all the time too, like when they wrap their wrists, like they'll wrap like at the wrist joint and then halfway up their forearm. Like it's a wrist wrap. Like you need to protect the wrist joint.
It's like, yeah, this supports me really well.
Yeah, it's like, cool, dude. It just looks like you have athletic tape on you right now, and it's not going to do anything.
Not going to do shit.
So, yeah.
So, do you think maybe we should make like a demo for like knee wraps, wrist wraps?
Yeah, we could do that.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Put that up for people. That way they can learn how to do that basically properly.
Yeah. Yep. And it is funny, like watching the kids like figure it out. Like when we do like allow them to use wrist wraps, I mean, it's just like, it's an impossible puzzle for them to figure out. And all you got to do is just crank it,
But you got to remember, I mean, they don't have the same kind of like knowledge that you do.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is fun to watch. I won't lie.
But just to watch them like try to figure out, like in their head, like, okay, well, it kind of makes sense if I go this way. But then like they get all the way done and they look at it and they're just like, oh, that sucks. That doesn't look right. So then they redo it,
Oh man, I can't even imagine like between you two, who has more like OCD with their wraps?
Don't ever use them, so definitely not me.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I learned from like a few people that however you put it on is how you have to do it, because you want to be ready and like experienced, I guess, in having the equipment like fit wrong. So then like you know how to correct it, and it's not like a new situation that can occur like when you get on the platform. Because like when the person goes like right in front of you and then they load your weight, they'll say like bar is loaded. So from that point on, you have 60 seconds to get that bar out of the rack. So like if you're forgetting something or you're in a rush because like, your knee wrap came undone, so you got to rewrap your knee, and then now you got all your emotions going, and it's just like, oh, you need to like kind of like pump the brakes. Like, I've been here before. This is how I'm going to correct it. So just little situations like that. And that's what you try to kind of get like, and it's just like practice. Like when you're practicing for football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever, you want to put yourself in situations that you may experience on the field. Because the emotional response from kids, is going to change like per person. Some people thrive on that. Other people, like they shit the bed. So you need to like put them through that in a practice. So you kind of know like what kind of athletes you're dealing with.
So when do you think is going to be like the most appropriate time for them to actually start wearing the wraps? Like at what? Like is there an age range? Is there like an experience level?
I think an experience level as far as I need you to do a squat to the point where you can't mess it up. That's where I'm at. Like with that.
Okay.
Like if your knees are still caving in, you're not putting wraps on. If you can't hit depth, you're not putting wraps on because it doesn't do anything. The wraps only work when you're below parallel, and then they spring you to parallel. That's it. And a little bit of joint support, but yeah. Like if you're not hitting depth, then like
I got plenty of space.
Yeah, you're just, I don't know, you're not doing anything to like better yourself with them. Like you just have them on just to have them on. So that's what it's. In the P2 world, as you would say, it depends.
How often do you hear me say that?
Constant.
Constant? I don't say it depends constantly.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I do say quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I look at it is, as soon as you have to add any kind of external cues or external support, you're almost self-limiting. When you're dealing like if you shift it to like a PT focus, you're almost self-limiting when it comes to like pain control, or like even like confidence in the lift. I hate when people are like, I wear a belt, my back pain goes away, and it's like, well, that's not good, because then that means you're creating an artificial brace that isn't even maybe like appropriate or efficient.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be addressed too with most people, because as soon as they form what I call like the external crutch, they're going to be putting on way more weight than what's probably appropriate, and probably doing more harm than good. The other thing about that, though, is that once you start actually building up a solid base around yourself, like core-wise or even like just movement pattern-wise, then after that, start applying the belt back in and watch how much more you can move. It's just, I don't know. That's my soapbox.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure Brandon can agree, too. Like, I mean, you hardly watch him ever put a belt on. You know, like it's not until like he's closer to like a 90, 95, 100% before he even considers like slapping a belt on, you know?
Yeah,
like
I'm doing dynamics. I don't hit a belt at all.
Yeah. Yep.
Or if I'm hitting like 80, 85 for 5 or 6, that's really about it. But.
Yeah. Now, if I was to use like chains, like when I'm using chains, then I could probably get away with not wearing a belt. But like with bands, like the band tension that I use, like I'm putting a belt on, because no, like I need that little pressure.
Oh man,
yeah, I don't know, and it's one of those too where like maybe we should at some point not have like a seminar, but like have kids that like want to learn come in and they just watch us work out, no questions. Like we'll take questions at the end. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you can just, it's like going to, this is probably the lamest analogy I've ever used in my entire life. It's like going to an NFL game, and then like you're watching these guys practice or watching them actually play in the game, but then you want to ask them why they did what they did right there. Like, you're never going to do that. You can ask them after the game during the press conference, but you know, it's like one of those where like we are walking examples of the programs that you guys are using. We use those. Like it's on purpose. Like everything that you've seen on that board, we've personally like trialed and ran it ourselves. We have all the like the progressions and everything like that wrote down. So it's like these are like tried and true. We're never going to use you guys, like the kids, as an experiment, because you're not an experiment. You're a product of our gym and of our coaching mythologies. So like that's like
wow.
Huh?
You got really deep on us there all of a sudden. Holy shit.
Well, I mean, it's just like I don't know. It's like I myself am a big believer of like I want somebody that has like been there, done that walk, and proven that this theory works. So it takes away the buy-in factor, if you will. You know, because I mean,
forced all our interns to.
Yeah, and that's exactly what our
forced all the interns to get on the bell squat the other week, just because like, you can't coach someone to that kind of discomfort. So.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's true though, because like everybody, they'll naturally start arching their back more, you know, to try to get away from like the glute muscles being contracted. And it's like, like you got to find a way now, because you put yourself in that situation, to squeeze it all the way up and through and like rotate your pelvis. So like, cause you're going to have kids that do the same thing. Like you need to be able to coach them through that.
Actually, that's a pretty cool point. So I think what we could even do, like Brandon, when you get back in town, what if we found some time to take the interns through like the big three and kind of have different perspectives from each of us? Like we would watch each of them do the squat, right? And then you could see the perspective of like the physical therapist, Trotter's background in powerlifting, and then Brandon's background in speed training, with like different movements. We could take the interns through each one of their lifts, break them down, and be like, this is what we see. And then we could look at the interns and be like, hey, what did you guys see as well? And maybe they can confirm, yeah, that's what I saw too. Or like maybe they saw something different that maybe even we missed.
Yep.
You know, if you don't know, you can't comment on it. So, I mean, that could be a fun little talk.
Yeah. But I say we do a pretty good job of that, like of daily, like as far as like the interns, like we're kind of letting them off the leash, I guess, a little bit, and they're kind of like one-on-one training, like a few of the kids that are in there, and then like they'll come over to us and they'll be like, all right, like what are you seeing, and like how do I fix this? But then like both of us will fire it right back, like, all right, well, what do you see, and what do you think? So then they can kind of like, you know, use their critical thinking and give them like points to look at for like a focal point, like, hey, check this first. And then, you know, check their ankle mobility, work up to their knee, work up to the hip. And then now what's going on there? If all that's good, move on to the spine. Why is their spine rounding over? What cue can you give them to correct that? You know, and not like a single cue is going to fix every single kid. You got to like, you know, work that through, you know? So,
Yep.
And I mean, you can watch like Brandon on like the speed side of things, especially, you know, because the speed side of things, like you got to give Brandon more credit because your eye has to be quicker because everything's happening faster. You know, when you slow down the velocity on like your max effort lifts, it's easy to see where your breakdowns are going to be to an extent, you know, but when you're running 100 miles an hour, like you have to watch every little thing at a blink of an eye. You know, so that's where his trained eye like really comes into factor.
Yeah,
Hear that, Brandon? You got a trained eye.
Isolate certain parts of the body, and then like whenever I was first learning, I would just go into video analysis.
Yeah,
that's just the easiest way to do it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the best way that I learned like from Brandon is because he would do video analysis and then he would break it down in slow mode, all like when they were coming out of the blocks. You know, so like you have the one. Shin is at like 90, the other one's at like 130, 135, somewhere in there. You have the hips high, like all that. I was just like, this makes so much sense because he slowed it down. So then now, like when they're actually doing it, I'm like, oh, that angle was off. This is off. You rose too quick, stuff like that.
You're just getting compliments all over the place today, Brandon. Shit.
It's a good day to be me.
I mean, we had to build you up after your wife kind of gave us the dirt on you.
Threw me under the bus.
Yeah.
In a loving way.
She did it nicely though. It's way worse off camera.
I was gonna say.
That part's true.
Any other little bits or pieces you guys want to bring up with either time management or the belts, the wraps, and the knee sleeves?
Nah, we'll make some videos on it. Speaking of time management, though, I got to roll.
Yeah, you got to get going, man. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed today's discussion. We will see you guys in the next episode.